Alright, what's up folks? Total Wars here. I got another great one today. It's going to be a 2v2 land battle in Rome 2. But this one's going to be with the Unconquered Sun mod. And so it's going to be the Unconquered Sun mod brings new factions to the game, and as well as a variety of new units and general abilities. So we're going to start by slow-moing because we have to go through a ton of new units as we're playing two brand new factions. So starting off, it's going to be the Etruscan League. And for his up front, it's going to be Etruscan archers as well as Brutei slingers, and then some more Etruscan archers there on the outside. On his flank, he has two Italian noble infantry. Looks like a very heavy spear infantry, very heavy spear infantry. The stats actually look pretty good. It's a 95 armor, 38 melee attack, weapon damage at 29, a 20 bonus versus large, so that's a good unit to have on your flanks. And it's going to have Etruscan guard, and this is actually axe infantry. This is it's got the axe instead of the sword. These guys are going to come with 36 melee attack, a 32 weapon damage, a charge bonus of 8, melee defense of 75, armor 95. So this is a very tanky unit. He's going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 of those, as well as another Italian noble infantry there on his right. Then for general, he's going to have the Italian noble cavalry. This is going to have a level 1 chevron. This looks, again, like a pretty good cavalry unit, and then a Etruscan cavalry there on the right flank. And then on the left here, he's going to have an Italian noble cav. I'm playing as the Servile Rebellion. So it would have been the rebellion Spartacus led against Rome. And I'm going to be bringing rebel cavalry. This is 2 skirmish cav, very light skirmish cav, but these guys have a level 4 chevron, so they're going to be pretty beefed up as far as experience, and they're going to start skirmishing with that Etruscan cavalry there to start this one out. This one's only got, okay, it's flipping back. It only has 2 chevrons, but that's my general. I was like, why? Because it always resets to general when you move off another unit. So the Servile Rebellion is going to be a lot of light infantry, but what they're going to make up for in not very good and very low armor, they're going to make up for in numbers. These guys have a high number units, like these Rebel Militia have 240 men to the normal 120 or 160. Then the Rebel Raiders at 160. I believe that one other unit, the Skirmishers, I think have more, 120 on the Skirmishers. No, what was it that normally had more? I don't know, never mind. I thought there was another unit that had more than normal, but yeah, they're making up with a kind of a numbers thing. And these Rebel Militia are actually a pike unit, but they're not very effective. They're not as effective as a pike unit because they can be crushed from head on. But they will be extremely painful to deal with if they get some infantry support in there. They can be a real problem. So I'm going to have 2 of those. Those are both going to have level 2 chevrons. So they have a little bit of experience there. Then some veteran spearmen here. And these are going to be making up my center. There's 2 of those. They also have a level 2 chevron. And then out on my flanks here, as we slowly work back, we're going to have Rebel Raiders. Then these are going to have level 4 chevrons. And then in the center, we're going to have 2 free gladiators. These are both going to have level 2 chevrons. These are kind of like the Roman gladiators. I think they have a little bit better stats than the Roman gladiators, though, and more numbers. The Roman gladiators, you can only get 90 of them. So there's 120 in that unit. And I think they have a little bit better stats, even without the chevrons. And then over here, we're going to have Seekers of Freedom. This is like a Berserker unit, I believe. Yes, it's going to have Berserk as well as Frenzy and Chant. So that's a scare unit there. It's kind of the equivalent of a Berserker and a scare unit all in one. And a Chant unit, so it's like a Druidic Noble kind of thing. Then a Seeker of Freedom on this flank as well. Then here we're going to have on the far back, we're going to have Rebel Horsemen. 2 of those are going to have level 4 chevron. Those are going to be very, very light shock cavalry. They're not going to be worth much in a melee fight against other cavalry, so those are going to need some spear support, and that's going to come through the Liberators. These are both going to have level 2 chevrons. These Liberators are quite an effective unit. These are a very, like a Roman Triarii almost. They have pretty good stats. A melee attack 54, weapon damage 30, 15 bonus versus large, so maybe not quite as good as the Italian noble infantry there. So then I didn't mention the chain breakers. These are the elite infantry of the Servile Rebellion. They're one of the only heavily armored units. These guys come in with 80 armor, so nothing even close compared. 15 off, I guess that's pretty close compared to the Etruscan Guard. So their armor is severely less. They do have they are an archer unit kind of hybrid though. So these guys both have level 4 chevrons, and they got the archers. So they have quite a few volleys, I believe. They have a range of 150. They have 10 volleys of ammunition, and before they go into melee, and then they fight like the equivalent of an Oathsworn in melee. So yeah, they're very dangerous in that setup. If you can let them get all their ammunition off before they go in, they can be really useful. So that Chainbreaker is just a cool one to keep your eye on, because it will really do damage if used right. So we'll speed this one up as the Chainbreakers move to kind of support the archers, the rebel marksmen. These rebel marksmen, if I remember correctly, they carry a phalanx, or not a phalanx, what's the Adracian Kingdom's weapon? The two-handed sword? It's a phalanx, the phalanx, instead of a sword or a spear when they run out of ammunition. So they're very dangerous on the charge once they are out. And we might get to see that. I don't know if we can see that. We'll try to find it if they go into melee. Now my skirmish scav continuing to harass the enemy and just move up and then pull back. That's how you run with skirmish scav. And they also are trying to run those skirmishers back behind their lines before pulling back. Just get a volley off on those skirmishers. I think, yeah, they did inflict a couple casualties. And then they're trying to get that cavalry to bait out and chase them. That Italian noble, you can't do much to that because that's a really heavily armored unit. That comes in with a 95 health, 100 armor, so yeah, they're not going to do much against this Italian noble cav, but they could get hit points on it, and that's going to be crucial because the cavalry advantage is by far with the Etruscan League right now, because they have 3 cavalry units. They already outnumber if you don't count the skirmish cav, and their quality is so much better because just about everything in the Etruscan League, or in the Servile Rebellion's roster, is not great. It's not a ton of great units, but they have the few, like the chain breakers there and the liberators in the back. Those will shine out, and those will really are what carries these lighter infantry like the raiders and the rebel veterans and the rebel militia, and keeps them going in the fight. So it's up to these more elite units to keep those lighter ones in the fight. And so the Servile Rebellion really is an interesting faction because of that. They don't have that heavy punch power with their infantry like most factions. I'm trying to think of another faction to compare them with that wouldn't have a ton of heavy infantry. I can't really think of one. They're kind of loners. Now those rebel cavalry taking some fire there from the Etruscan archers who have set up behind those Italian noble infantry as some cover. That's a really nice setup there to get rid of those skirmish cav. That really forces them back. You can see I'm pulling out. I don't want to fight that. And now my chain breakers are moving forward right there on both flanks. Or no, just on that one flank. And then my rebel marksmen as well are moving up to see if they can't get some early shots in. And now I'm moving up some rebel militia there to help them. I think I'm moving my whole army up, but I didn't do the make them a unit and send them forward. You know how you can group them? I didn't do that. I moved every unit up individually because I think I wanted to rearrange. I can't remember why I did that. Normally I just group it and move it all forward, but I don't know why I did that this time. Anyway, so I did move up there, and I believe, yeah, see, they're just outside of my range. And the good thing about letting the enemy come into your range is you get the early shots off while they're still trying to set up, and then that can really give you an advantage. So you don't want to be the one to march into enemy range. I think I have a skirmish advantage because of these chain breakers. I mean, these guys are really good. They're actually pretty accurate. For being an infantry unit, they do really good with their bows. So they will be able to get quite a few. They'll be game changers in the archer department as far as skirmishing goes. These rebel marksmen also, they have a little bit heavier armor, so that helps them a lot. They have that little arm shield there, so they should have a block chance. They do 5 shots per minute. They have 15 rounds. I'm trying to find. Oh boy, range 150 missile damage. I'm trying to find melee attack weapon damage. charge bonus, melee defense, armor. I think if we go like this, it shows, yeah, best value, shield value of 20. So they have a little bit. Where's it show? Fire, ammunition, I don't know. Somewhere it shows block chance. I don't know what that is, though, on those units, but it should be pretty good. And especially for the chain breakers, it should be even better because they have a huge shield, but I guess they're not, like, facing their shield towards the enemy, so maybe it wouldn't be as good. But they do have a lot of armor, so they should do really, really well in that, in an infantry or an archer engagement. And here, I thought I saw wait a minute, the Etruscan guard are facing the wrong direction. Oops. Something went wrong. Some glitch right there. If I remember right, that actually happened, though. This was a glitch. I was wondering when he did it. I don't know why that happened. But now you can see my skirmish cav behind me kind of shifting over towards the right flank, like they're going to threaten that. And then immediately he shifts his Etruscan cavalry in that skirmisher, that archer unit there, to help stop those skirmishers from getting over there. You'll see I shift my skirmishers back, and we will do that a little bit back and forth. And you can see, look at this, he's just outside of me. I mean, he's standing on the red line of my range, so I just can't reach him with those archers right there. It's really annoying, but I'm not going to move up just yet. He did move that infantry unit back into a place. I don't know what went wrong right there. That was quite the glitch. And then I'm going to split my units of skirmishers back and forth so he doesn't have to keep running back and forth here. Because you can see he's going back and then forth and back and forth. And so he can never really get those units set. And I think no. I was kind of hoping he would tire them out, but I never really checked, I guess. I probably just ended up tiring out my units instead. Now with him doing that, I'm going to move my skirmishers here, and I'm going to start forcing the flanks on this side mainly because I don't want to face that Etruscan archer. But he's just going to turn this Etruscan archer and do the exact same setup. Now I did get a volley right there into those Italian noble cavalry, and they're not going to like that. I mean, they got the heavy armor, so it's not the 100 armor, so it's not going to do too much to them. But it's kind of annoying getting that hit point damage. But now with those archers getting set right there, I got to kind of get out of there. And now I'm going to hit a quick reload, I believe, is what quick reload. And it's going to go to waste because I'm going to pull out right then. And then over here, I believe I do advance this cavalry now. I can only focus on one skirmish cav at a time. They require so much micro managing. I can only do so much with skirmish cavalry. I can only do one unit at a time, which is why I normally keep all my skirmish cavalry on one flank. It's easier to manage when you can just mass order them. And so here, my skirmish cav going to come in close and try to get a volley off. It did get one off into those Italian nobles, but those nobles are returning fire with some javelins, which is actually an interesting little piece to that unit. It's a javelin unit as well. It's like a heavily armored Thurios spear. And then the archers, the Etruscan archers, I think got a volley off. And I did pay for that. I lost 7 men, so it wasn't exactly great. I'm also going to pull back on with this rebel cavalry. And they only got 6 kills on that unit there. And then, how many on this one? 0 on that one. So nothing great from those skirmish cabs so far there. Really, all they're doing is annoying the enemy. And then the liberators there, they have moved to the flanks. They were right here behind the Seekers of Freedom, or the Freed Gladiators. And so they did move up behind those rebel horsemen to give those support in case the enemy tries to push the flanks with that cavalry. Now the chain breakers are opening fire with the main rebel marksman. And I think, yeah, he's got his archers like right there in his infantry unit. So he's going to take a few extra hit points because of that, because I can fire into his units there. And we had the same range, so I think we were pretty even in range, so he didn't really have much of an advantage there, but he does have those Brutei slingers, and slingers normally have a better block chance and higher ammunition count, so he did have that one advantage there. And then these units went into a shield screen, so that's going to keep them away from too much of that archer fire being too damaging, and they should survive pretty well. Because the archers are going to get a little extra cover from that. I mean, this is what I'm trying to say. What I'm trying to say is those archers should get covered from the shield screen, and so they should survive pretty well. But now moving up here, the Etruscan archers, they only have a range of 125, Yeah, they have a range of 125, so they got to get a little bit closer, and that gives my chain breakers a good chance to get in there, without getting too close to those skirmish, the brute slingers. So now I think, yeah, I was able to get the archers on them because the chain breakers have a 150, so we could get them before they got in position, which got a few free kills before they could get set and start firing back. So we did get that Etruscan archer to kind of waver there and pull out. And then he's not going to rout. He's going to rally back there, but he is wavering. Oh, nope, there he did go rout, but he still will come back into the fight. It wasn't enough to put him out. Those brute slingers, meanwhile, are putting up resistance. So they've got 16 kills and 19 kills, while the chain breakers have racked up 69. My rebel marksman at 5 and 7, and then this chain breaker over here at 8 is it's beginning to open fire on that Italian noble in the back there. And now this Italian noble up front. It doesn't hurt to get a few hit points. Even if you're not rendering kills, you're getting hit points, and that's really what counts. So it probably wasn't the best idea. I did waste a little bit of ammunition. I did drop one guy there. I was going to say, I pulled off the volleys after a little while. I didn't waste too much on those. And now the brute slinger is going to try to get rid of my chain breakers. So they're not firing on that infantry, and they're going to get that from the rebel marksmen. And they're going to knock those brute slingers out really fast. If those chain breakers can get in there and help that rebel marksman, they'll really knock that unit out. But the chain breakers are focused on those Etruscan archers instead. So the chain breakers won't be able to return fire to that brute slinger. However, that slinger's suffering pretty bad from that marksman. It's mowing that down pretty quickly, and it's going to have to fall back. Now this brute slinger did move up, is going to try to challenge that rebel marksman there, and now my cavalry is going to try to push the flank while he can't turn skirmishers because his skirmishers are busy with my skirmishers. So try to get that the mobility or the advantage those rebel cavalry bring. And the Etruscan archers now getting mowed down pretty quickly by those chain breakers. Those chain breakers are just beasts because they have such high armor. They haven't taken a single loss yet, despite all the fire pouring into them, and they have rendered 81 kills. And the same thing over here, pretty much no losses for 69 kills. Meanwhile, the rebel skirmishers or rebel marksmen are suffering pretty heavily here, and they're only 20 kills. They have 61 men left, and these guys got 95. With 37 kills. Now my skirmish cavalry has fallen back. They did manage to get 11 kills though. And then over here, that Etruscan archer is routed. And my archers were not getting the better of that. They were slowly getting whittled down by those brute slingers. So you will see my rebel raiders are moving up, and those are a javelin unit. They're kind of like a Thurio spear. That's another thing about the Servile Rebellion. They have a ton of javelins. And so because of that, I was able to extend the skirmish phase a long time because of the superior numbers. Superior javelin or firing ability really gave the skirmish into my hands here, and you'll see the rebel raiders are going to start taking fire there pretty quickly from those brute slingers. I think they started taking a lot of losses, but we're going to move up, and you're going to see them get at least one volley off straight into those slingers, or at least the infantry, because I wanted to get them up there and get a few volleys off while I still had cover for the chain breakers and the rebel marksmen to move them up a little bit closer. So even if they retreated, I had to force them back, and I'll see volleys from these rebel raiders start pouring in. And I think I only got one volley off, and they will take fire to the back. So they're gonna take losses, but it managed to force those guys back. And if that cavalry actually would have charged this rebel raider, I think I would have been pretty cooked, because that rebel raider would have been out of that like that. But I did turn and put that rebel raider now as a frontline unit there to start throwing javelins as they march forward, and it's gonna start giving to them right there. Okay, so it's gonna start throwing on them as they advance. So these guys can't stand and take that. I mean, they could if they wanted to, but I don't think they want to too much. And I just can't reach those brute slingers right there. So my rebel raider is going to get that javelin fire in on the Etruscan guard as they advance, and then they should fall back when the Etruscan guard charge. I also still have my chain breakers pouring fire in the flanks there. still pouring fire in the flanks there. And then the same thing, the rebel raiders now starting to render casualties there in the center as that hit point damage starts to erode, as well as my skirmishers, my marksmen, are beginning to fire on that main infantry line instead of the Brutei slingers. So the slingers are free to kill, but we are mowing them down pretty well. Now 20 losses on that javelin volley there, and the rebel raiders are suffering as they try to pull back, but they are going to turn around and try to make it a line again, a little bit closer to those skirmishers so they can just keep using their javelins, because I think they still have like they have at least like 4 volleys or something, so they had a good chance if they would have kept firing, but I think maybe they are out because they're not trying to fire now. I don't know. Anyway, they're going to take the charge from the Etruscan Guard. Meanwhile, over here, the javelin volleys of the Italian noble infantry are moving up, and that could be dangerous if they're let to throw. It shouldn't be, though. If I did it right, I should stuff those. Now my chain breakers are going to charge into melee, and the Etruscan Guard are going to pin down by that rebel militia. And like I said, that rebel militia can be defeated from the front, so it won't be good to hold that terribly long. Or it can't hold for terribly long. Now look at this, a ton of javelin fire pouring in there, and there's chain breakers really beginning to take losses now as they have pulled out swords, but they will not charge yet for some reason. Those rebel militia really need to engage. Now the veteran spearmen are also a javelin unit, so they are throwing, like I said, the Servile Rebellion is a very heavy javelin unit, and then right here the rebel marksmen have pulled their falcons, and they are ready for that heavy charge because the Falx renders heavier on the charge just statistically. And then here the rebel horsemen charged into the wrong target, getting into that noble infantry. But the liberators did manage to get in there, and the liberators are going to start racking up kills pretty quickly. They have no losses for about 14 kills, so they're doing pretty good there. Then a Seekers of Freedom there with 20 kills for 4 losses, and they are going to start whittling through that. I don't think they'll win, though. Just because of their lower numbers, but that scare tactic should work really well. Now my generals kind of getting pinned down here as those units are going to leave. The Italian nobles are going to leave there and try to get around those chain breakers. Meanwhile, my main line of lighter infantry got backed up by those free gladiators, and those free gladiators, because they didn't take a countercharge, should do pretty good. And now my rebel militia moving up to engage the Italian nobles on the flank, and then they're going to get followed up by Seekers of Freedom. Now my cavalry beginning to press the flanks, as well as a liberator to try to tie down. If I can tie down the enemy cavalry with my rebel horsemen and then get the liberator in there, it's probably the best I can do. I mean, that's really what I want to happen, because those liberators will chew through those Italians pretty quick. Meanwhile, this liberator over here is going to pop the rebellion ability, and this is going to resist with enemy willpower alone, gain small attack bonus and an increasing amount of melee damage and morale while recovering from fatigue. Then it's got the hoplite wall and I am Spartacus. It's going to chant and refuse defeat, steadily increase morale, defense, and morale into unbreakable state. So they will not break. Units can't rout while with the I am Spartacus, and then they're going to release a chant. Or maybe, no, they didn't unleash the chant. I think the Seekers of Freedom gave the chant, and that's going to be a morale bonus for all units within the range. So it's going to be this whole section right here. And then the Seekers of Freedom over here have gone berserk and are going to start chewing through that Italian noble infantry. Meanwhile, the liberators have gotten into that Italian noble cavalry, and then the rebel militia is sitting there taking like point-blank range fire from those Etruscan archers, because I was not paying attention apparently. And now the rebel cavalry going to start firing in support against that Italian noble cav as the liberators begin to wrap that up. And then over here, my general, I mean, this guy is a brute. These liberators can really rack up the kills, and they are at 130. And they have already gotten to a level 3 chevron. I believe they had a level 2 when we started, so they gained 1 there. And now my cavalry there continuing to do rear charges at 72. Then the Seekers of Freedom at 117, as well as rebel veteran at 56. Now, however, this Italian noble cav is going to get in to those rebel skirmishers, and these rebel skirmishers have a bonus versus large of like 5 or something like that. I thought they did, at least. Charge bonus melee defense. No, apparently they don't. Okay, I thought they did. Now my what unit was that? My rebel horsemen are going to get in there and try to pin that unit down. Rebel marksman's going to charge in because the charge bonus, and then the pikes are going to try to get in there. They're reforming for a charge in, but it's not working. Meanwhile, this free gladiator at 144 is holding back the entire enemy infantry line there. our 3 units is going to get some reinforcement from the rebel raiders. And then right here, the pikes, the rebel militia there, are going to get attacked by an Etruscan guard as they try to encircle. And my cavalry is going to help there. And then we got that Seekers of Freedom at 112 and a Liberator at 52 as they begin that encircling on the flanks. And then here we have a Seeker of Freedom at 122, and it's not being monitored. Then we have a Liberator at 167 on the flank here. I mean, these Liberators will really, really chew through units really fast. These guys are really racking up the kills. And then we got that Italian Noble Infantry that rallied and is not coming back just yet. Then this Etruscan Guard got rear charged there, and I'm beginning to rear charge with my cavalry, and my Liberators are going to encircle this main pocket here. And so that's going to be encircling the last pockets of resistance against the enemy. That Seeker of Freedom has come unberserk and is going to come back into the fight to encircle those Etruscan Guard there, who are winning against the Liberators. Where are the Liberators? So the Liberators encircled, and then they got pinched by that Etruscan Guard. But the chant from the Seekers of Freedom should help out, and then the Rebel Veterans are going to pull out and hopefully possibly cycle charge there, while the Rebel Cavalry continue to help wrap up with those rear charges, which are being very helpful. And then the Rebel Militia at 104, I believe we still have that. Okay, yeah, other Rebel Militias at 10, so it's not quite as good. One thing about the mod is it's changed the pike formation to the sideways spears instead of the up and down, so it makes it a bit easier to distinguish pike from spear, which is really nice actually. I didn't think I'd like it as much because I normally just like the vanilla game, and I've really loved this mod. It's been a ton of fun, so I've been trying to get replays with it to show, but not too many other people are using it, so only when I have time or only when my friends will play can we get videos with this mod. So we got the Seekers of Freedom at 201 as we're wrapping up the last of the Etruscan Guard, and my Liberators over here are going to come over, and I believe I popped another ability, the I Am Spartacus again, to get rid of those Liberators, or to get rid of the Italian Noble Cap. I never went through the special abilities for the Etruscan League, but I guess that's too bad. So the Servile Rebellion is going to win. So we're going to have Total Wars here at 2,310 kills. I'm going to get 216 on those Liberators and 93 on the others. And then the Rebel Cavalry did pretty good at 115 and 84. The Shock Cav at 91 and 9. Then the Rebel Marksmen at 30 and 107. And then the Chainbreakers at 222 and 153. So those Chainbreakers, that unit of the bowmen, you can see the little bows strapped to their backs there. They did a very good job. And then the Free Gladiators did good at 205, 190. And then the Rebel Militia did good. Well, one of them did good. It got 117. The other one got only 14, so not quite as good. The Seekers of Freedom were really decisive with 216 and 215 apiece. And then the Rebel Veterans were a good main line to hold. They got the same kind of build as the Massilian Thurios spears on the artwork. So they... yeah, because I think they have the same amount of javelins or something like that. So yeah, 66 and 94, so they did okay. And then the Rebel Raiders, 99 and 45, did good at holding. So we have Hawk Kev Rock, and he is going to have 1,471 kills, and he's playing as the Etruscan League. He has 77, 13, and 9 on those Italian Noble and the Etruscan Cavalry. That artwork's pretty the same. The difference there is the shield. I think that's the only difference. Oh, and then the one's got the spear and one's got the sword. So... that general did pretty good at 77, but the other two cavalry units were a little disappointing there. Then the archers slingers and archers did good. They had to face those chainbreakers, so against the odds they did good. This infantry 134, 85, 93, 155, 89, 145, 58, 56, 78, 34. They did really good. Or decent, I should say, against most. Just a few of them did good. Some of them not so good, 56 and 34, not quite as good as 134, 155, you know? So then we have the Italian Noble Infantry at 152, 85, and 19. That 152 did good, then the 19 a little disappointing, but they were up against some tough targets in that Seekers of Freedom. I believe that's the one that got engaged by the Seeker of Freedom. So, yep, thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell, and I'll catch you in the next one.